Hello, I'm Perry from Rennet and Rind, and I'm here today to talk to you about something very, very special, which is the mystery cheese box, which has been going for a huge amount of years, but I never ever get tired of it. This camera locks on a lot, which is new, but anyway, yeah, so you got your box, you would have got your tasting notes, and of course you would have got 5 cheeses selected by me. I'm a world cheese judge. I have been Affiner of the Year every time I've competed to be Britain's best cheese maturer. And hopefully that makes me, I've also been inducted to a guild of people that are dedicated to looking after and protecting artisan cheese by the French. So hopefully that might give you a little idea that maybe I might know a little bit of what I'm talking about. And yeah, these are the 5 cheeses that I've selected for the month of October. So weather's changing a little bit. That does some weird things with cheese and milk and whatever. So it's trying to strike a balance between these autumnal months. I know you guys are going to want to be something more wholesome, something bigger, but there'll be days as well that you just need a little bit more freshness. So hopefully I've straddled the balance like really well there, you know. So, you know, if you don't want to listen to me, tasting notes as always, but let's get diving in. So first up we have Waterloo. Waterloo from Village Made Cheeses. We do Spenwood from them, we do Wigmore, and we actually have never done Waterloo. Waterloo is a brie-style, however, the curd is washed. So when you're splitting your curds and whey in the vat, you're then washing the curds. And as you wash those curds, essentially you wash off lactose, which can't be converted into acidity. So the cheese is far more, when you see this wash curd thing, they're far more subtle, far more gained in kind of like the sweet area, which Waterloo is. It's got this lovely kind of rind on the outside as well. So we've got that kind of like vermiculated rind that's not vermiculated, that's for another cheese, but with this kind of penicillium, kind of candidium that's on the outside. We've got like a big chalk centre. You know, obviously I know some of you guys love like Tunworth, Baron Bygod, where we've got pure ooze. This isn't quite like that. It's slightly more drier, which makes the cheese a little bit more simple and a great starting cheese. As I always say, try these cheeses in order. They're specifically there for good reason. So the aroma, really, really light. If anything, milky, right? I'm not going to kind of like jazz it up with all these weird words, but you know, you've got a clear milk sweetness that's in there, and a little bit of mushroom from the rind, but that's what you would expect from a brie-style cheese. Let's pop it in. Texture really dense, slightly chalky with the context on the in-between. So fresh, so grassy, just like cheesy milk, right? Really obvious. You know, this cheese, it might not be everyone's like favourite on the board, because it's just really, it's a good opener. It's very Moorish, you can tuck back into it. And this is made from Guernsey cow's milk, Guernsey, which is really difficult to make with as well. Interestingly, you'll see, as it's a bit cold in here actually today, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it's got like a real yellowish kind of in there. And these are Guernsey cows, Guernsey cow's milk. Guernsey cows utilise they turn carotene in grass into beta carotene, and that's why you get that yellowish hue on Jersey and Guernsey cow's milk compared to a Holstein Friesian, the black and white cows. They don't use it. They literally just like basically just absorb it and don't turn it into beta carotene, so you don't get that colouring that's in there, you know, atypically from a kind of a Friesian Holstein kind of style cheese. Really nice. Not going to blow everyone away, but a great start. Next cheese up, a favourite of mine because I've won Affiner of the Year with Quick's Cheddar 2 times. This year, obviously, with Dillon, which hopefully should be available within the next year. Our first Affiner of the Year cheese may be going into full production, which is really exciting, so stay tuned for that. So Quick's is made by Mary Quick and the Quick family. Jane, her daughter, who is lovely, is now kind of taken up Mary's mantle, which is some huge shoes to fill, because Mary is just an absolute legend of the industry. We used to buy these in large, like 20 kilo wheels. We've recently come down to like the 6 or 8 truckle kind of sizes. We feel like we have more control over them, and you know, we're still getting up there plus 12 months maturity, of course. but I feel like they're just a little bit more compact, a little bit more together. So we've kind of moved over to this batch now. So aroma, I definitely get like that horseradish kind of note in there, that little bit of spice, but it's really subtle. Typically, hey, cheddar, acidity, good pastures. You've got the slight bit of barniness in there actually, which is kind of imparted a little bit by the rind, but really, really pleasant. Let's have a taste. Really dense and chewy. And that horseradish element, that kind of like pickled horseradish element, whatever that is, comes through really, really nicely. That linking into the first cheese, that milk quality coming in is really, really nice. Longevity, we're out of there now, and into that savoury element, you know, that kind of twiglety, kind of brothy kind of area. The salt balance is lovely. We get a little bit of kind of like that Parma ham, kind of like saltiness that's in there. And then that zip lasts all the way through. Really dense, really like non-apologetic cheddar, which is like amazing. So, next cheese we have up, a return to form, available online. Now, Cinder Hill used to be based in Oxfordshire, which was very close to us from Cambridge, maybe rivals, some might say, but of course not. Made by Fraser, Norton and Yarrow, Fraser and Charlotte, a real typical kind of Loire Valley style cheese. So you're getting a lactic set cheese. Now I say things sometimes and I feel like I don't explain them. There's loads of different styles of making cheese, but essentially you've got rennet. Rennet sets the cheese like jelly. And then you've got lactic set. So lactic set is basically using acidification of the milk, the pH coming down over a long period of time. So it makes the curd far more gentle. So you're using more starter culture and less rennet. And essentially, the way these guys do it is from a previous day make. They pull that bit of milk in, start that slow acidification process. So it's so gentle, so craft-worthy, because you have to really know what you're doing. Like, you can have a pH indicator that goes, oh, we're there, start filling the molds and things like that. But it's really, really difficult. Now, this cheese has a little bit of geotrichum in, so my one's collapsed a little bit. I'm not angry at it. I actually quite like it when it's collapsed. But if you have a little look closer into your rind, you'll see this kind of wriggly rind, vermiculated. That is called geotrichum, which is like, I would say, the mold of the era. Everyone's loving a bit of geotrichum. If you see that wavy mold on top of your bries or whatever, or really tight, then it's good old geo doing its job. So the guys have moved over this year, or just before this year actually, moved over to Wales, so new herb, new pastures and everything like that. And we just feel like it's back where it is now. We've we're happy with the move or where it is, and it's great for it to be in the box. You know, you get that really kind of distinctive hay kind of area. There is no kind of aggressive goatiness that kind of comes through the cheese at all. You know, you get a touch of it, but it's just letting you know where it's coming from. There's a good kind of herbal, and I get like like a real herbaceous kind of vibe from it as well. Let's have a taste. That is really good. That's really good. Kind of need another bit to kind of like understand what was going on. I just enjoyed it. This kind of saltiness is so nice that's in there. The borderlines are savoury for a goat's cheese. The kind of zips in there, but that warmed milk, that bit of spice at the end is really, really nice throughout it. And on mine, this dual texture that you've got this kind of like creamy breakdown on the outside, which coats the palate, and then you've got something to enjoy, to chew on. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a boiled sweet with a mint lime in texture. You've got that kind of exterior that you're working through, and when you break through and that kind of like chocolate comes out, obviously I like chocolate limes. It's kind of that dual texture that goes so well. It's so Moorish. And I just love the way it's just got that touch of goatiness. Yeah. Really happy with that. Very good at making goat cheese, okay, aren't we? We're really good at it. Next up, we've got Ashcombe. Ashcombe, made by David Jowett down in Gloucestershire. We needed, like, as I said, I'm balancing all these cheeses up. We've had a bit of kind of neutrality, a bit of acid, a bit of savoury, a bit of sweet, but we're missing something that's a little bit sweet and a little bit funkier. Enter Ashcombe. Ashcombe, made by David Jowett down in Gloucestershire. It is modelled on a cheese that I'm no longer allowed to say because copyright laws, right? So it's modelled on a famous French cheese, right? I know many cheeses that have this ash line in the middle, but one comes to mind really specifically. And then the exterior is washed as well. So you've got that peachy rind on the outside. That's the brevy and other things going on. Really meaty, that is. You know, really meaty with a little bit of funk. Texture, got a few openings in there that's in there, but very kind of like pliant, rubbery, like in a good way. Have a taste. Really sweet and really refined. Really like good feed, good like animal feed, right? The milk comes from this place called Manor Farm, which is just next to David. They're really big on their farming and the way they rotate the cheese around. This is a really good batch. Might not be for everyone, but that funk that gets in there, you know, that fruity funk, unbelievable. I love when cheese is fruity. Coming from milk and you get fruitiness. It's got that nut as well. Fruitiness, berry, and a little bit of kind of like nut of some sort, which I'm struggling. Really interesting. Very, very different. Good quality milk from Manor Farm. Great cheese making from David. That cheese may split the room. You know, I think some people may like that, some people won't. But I really, really like it. I think that might be the best that Ashcombe has been for me in a long while. Get quite excited about that. Next cheese we have up. Brand new cheese to us, available online. Stitchton, made by Joe Snyder in Nottinghamshire, just near the Welbeck estate. Essentially, Stilton with raw milk. You know, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I think actually the make of Stitchton is much more slower, you know, in terms of maturation, which you get this kind of complex breakdown that kind of happens. One of Mark's favourite cheeses, and we've wanted to have it in for ages, but we needed to work a few things out, and here it is. And it's got that lovely kind of texture that's on it as well. A little bit firm, a little bit cold that's in there. Got a little bit of crumble that's going on. But the aroma, it's like pure digestive kind of area on the blues, purely. You know, in terms of that rating, it's actually quite mild. I mean, I have grabbed it directly from the middle. I might need normally, obviously I don't do the whole eat from the nose out, but I think I might need a little bit more. Yeah, so we've got a little bit more ammoniation on the outside, which tells you there's breakdown happening. Not as strong as it tastes on the palate, because I've been eating a fair amount of this. Let's have a taste. Look at that texture. Flaggy, fudgy, take some work to push around. A little bit of vibrancy from the fruity kind of element that links in really well with the Ashcombe. But then just that savoury tang. You know, I think I said it for another cheese that we lost recently. So this is a great replacement for it. That bottom of the bag, twiglet, savoury tang. That pure Marmite kind of Bovril edge reduction. There's nothing really not to like in there. The bitterness is realised, so you're getting a nod to it, but not in a way that's like noticeable as such. But it's big, it's really toothsome. You can like eat through that for quite some time. So yeah, that's really delicious. This is a good box, guys. I'm really pleased with this. You know, I'm really happy where the Ashcombe is. I think that's a lift up on where that's been in a long while. Cinder Hill, just smashing it. You know, Old Faithful, Quicks coming in. Waterloo just being a great opener, and then a big bang on the stitch. Yeah, and that's everything from me. That's your 5 cheeses. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next month. Yeah, Christmas boxes are live if you manage to make it to the end of this film. We're currently, as the time of speaking, we are 64-ish% of the way through on sales, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous and a huge, just shows how much faith people have in our cheese, and we can't thank you enough for it. So pick up one of those, because I think they're going to sell out well early this year, which is amazing. And I'll catch you next month.